Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the TING Open, North American Group number 2. We've actually played out almost all the groups at this point. Only the European Group 2 and the Wildcard Group 2 remain. Spawning here on the bottom left side of the map, though, he's going to be the red Terran player, CM Storm's Polt.
The top right is the blue Terran player. He's Roots Kelazhur.
Okay, and Zyrup's coming in a little bit quiet in my ears, guys, so I'm going to turn her up a bit, and I know in the past this has caused problems, so I'm hoping this doesn't make her too loud or anything. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on chat for feedback, you let me know. So this is an interesting matchup for a lot of different reasons. I could go into a lot of BS, but let's be honest, the only thing that matters is the fact that these two have been playing against each other. I'd say not very frequently, but somewhat frequently. In our qualifier, the first North American qualifier, Kelazhur actually knocked out Polt. Took him straight to the loser's bracket a couple rounds in. However, Polt, despite looking, and he did not look good. Like, no offense to Polt, he did not look good when that happened. But all these things aside, almost 9 or 10 hours later, they played again in Katz's tournament where Kelazhur lost that time around.
Yep.
So it is kind of a bit of a one-to-one in recent days. I'm sure they've played maybe on ladder or something since then, but as far as tournaments go.
Sure. We do have a 2 racks coming out here, or sorry, no, 2 racks. Mistook the gas as another racks. So a 2 racks from Kelazhur, which is scouted by Polt. So this really shouldn't be a problem. But I remember saying that last time these guys played on best of 3 in the qualifier, and then Polt still having really just terrible defense against it. Like you said, like they played like the day after, the night or something like that, and Polt did end up winning. But I wonder which Polt we're gonna see, I guess is the question. The guy who lost to weird stuff, like silly stuff, or the boss Polt that wins all the time.
So I guess in terms of like wondering what we'll see today, there's a little bit of bad news about Kelazhur, I suppose, where he's apparently not played today. I say this because I don't know what the deal with this patch was that him and Scarlet ran into, because I guess my updater just did it right away, so it was like a non-issue for me. And that's not bragging, that's just like I really did not realize there was like a patch or an issue. But both him and Scarlet said they basically were playing 13 hours ago, no problem, but playing today, this might be some of their first games, some of their first matches.
That's a good point. It is kind of, late in the day. It's 4 p.m. PST, 7... No. Well, yeah, almost.
3:30 PST.
Yeah, 3:30 and 6:30. But, of course, all that delay, it feels longer, right? Yeah, totally. We do have the Reapers doing pretty much nothing here. 3 Reapers now. That's actually it. He's not getting any more. Dodges past the bunker. It's a little bit of a bold move, but we'll get a couple of SCVs and a mule for it. Yeah, we'll sacrifice the Reapers.
Well, maybe not. 3 Reapers can fight what's here, especially with grenades, but unfortunately not taking the greatest start to this engagement for Kelazhur. Now, of course, behind this, he's got his command center up. It's going to be finishing here in just a moment. So Polt a little bit ahead, but getting that kill, stalling out these mules, that's kind of what he wants. Unfortunately, he cannot push up the ramp into this. Throws a couple grenades down, loses one of his Reapers. If he kills a couple Marines, it's probably worth his trouble, because then he knows there's not going to be a drop counterattack. So snipes off that Reaper. If he wants to do this correctly, no, he's valuing scouting information here a lot more. That's not a bad choice, by the way. That's kind of cool to see, because he could have taken on all those Marines with his Reapers. 2 of them, no problem.
He's going to be able to see almost the tank. Wow. Okay,
but not seeing the tank, seeing the tech lab on the factory, in the past used to be a dead giveaway. Now you do kind of wonder, like, did he go for a Cyclone? Because that's what Kelazhur is doing. This is the common, like, super defensive units. The fact that it is a tank might mean Polt wants to get a bit aggressive. We were watching Cure actually do some really cool, really aggressive tanks exclusive, I guess aggression? I don't know how to phrase it. Basically just dropping 2 tanks in a TvT when normally you wouldn't see people do them.
Harassment, for sure. It was interesting. Unfortunately, Kira was one of the guys that actually got knocked out in our group, which was awfully surprising, considering the name that goes with him.
Yes, but the curse.
Yeah, it's the curse, man.
The curse is more powerful than any one player in StarCraft 2.
None of the players will hit it today. Last time we actually cast, so 2 days ago, we actually managed to have an ace match, a decider match, rather, that was not a rematch, which is the first time. Those actually are surprisingly rare. We almost always have that a curse go into effect. But Polt, we thought maybe harassed with the 1 tank, not looking so hot, and he's actually going to be having to defend against the Marines. I do think 1 tank drop is always going to be a little weak, so it would have to be the 2. But the tank is actually sieged up here, just out of range.
Just so very barely out of range. Like as he steps forward, it does walk into range. That was close. Polt going for a Viking, by the way. So I'm not sure if he's going to do this nowadays. It was actually cool though, because Polt was one of these guys who really did use Vikings for some air control back in HOTS when TvT. I'd say air control is actually less important than it is now. Well, actually, you know what? This actually, I don't know if I want to go all political with this, right? With that statement, but it reminds me.
Political?
Right? Look, I'm just saying, in the Legacy of the Void beta, when TvT tank drops were worse and more out of control than they are now, because, again, they're thinking about nerfing it this time. A really cool thing we did see was a lot of Terran players being forced to just go for a little bit more air and actually taking Vikings into like a lot serious consideration rather than just going for as many tanks as possible. And I kind of wonder if maybe that might be the direction to go. Like, I don't know, somehow tweak the air rather than remove the medevac's ability to pick up tanks. Also, is somebody vacuuming in your background?
Yes, I'm going to tell you to stop.
Yeah, maybe or mute your mic just for the time being. Will you do that? Sorry, it's getting louder and louder. So, big drop out of Kelazhur. Triple medevacs coming to Polt's main. Polt has nothing here to defend because he just left to go attack the other side of the map. This is bad, though, because his stim pack is going to get shut down by this attack. Kelazhur already has stim pack done and completed. So, Polt going to be able to kill some SCVs, maybe even kill a command center, but in no circumstances he can actually be fit to fight Kelazhur head on. That stim pack advantage is going to be huge. His tanks on top of the starport going to kill any medevacs? No, medevacs aren't even going to get made. He's going to tap out. GG. Kelazhur catches Polt off guard in game number 1.
Came back just in time.
Yeah.
Hooray! Drops.
Drops. Everybody. That is always the most awkward timing in a TvT. When you think it's safe to go for your own drop, and then boom, you get dropped.
Yeah, can be awkward. That actually is something we saw a lot more in Heart of the Swarm as you were talking about it. Haven't seen a Terran versus Terran end like that in recent times.
No, definitely not for a bit. But next map going to be Orbital Shipyard. So it's not a bad map at all. This is one that you can still play safe and standard and slow on. I apparently did not hit best of 5 on the overlay during that last game, so my bad. But luckily it was game number 1, so score was going to be kind of irrelevant anyways. I'll try and remember to do that for this game. Also, we have to remember to tell people red and blue. So nobody flips the hell out today.
Okay.
Or at least not similar colors.
I'll try to be on top of that.
All right.
I got this.
Well, everyone's ready. We're going to get this party started. Orbital Shipyard for map 2. And just reminding everybody, Kelazhur leads 1-0. So, with that being said, we'll get a game. And we'll see you soon. All right, welcome back. Lord Asium kicking off that map intro, with a 9-month resub. Is it a boy? Is it a girl? Let us know what that baby ends up being. But oh, baby, this is going to be good. Spawning in the bottom left side of the map. He's already down 1 point. He's going to be the blue Terran player, CM Storm's Polt.
In the top right, as the red Terran, he is Root Kelazhur.
And he is going to be proxying a couple of Reapers.
Oh my goodness. So this can be dangerous because Polt has been scouting with an SCV most of his games that we've cast, but if you don't scout this, you might just straight up die, especially if you're already going for a 1-Rax expand. If you're going for a factory or off the bat with your own build, then it's a little easier to hold. If you're going for your own 2-Rax, it gets a little interesting too. Technically, Kelazhur should always be up 1 Reaper, but actually, they're timing out pretty similar. No, he should be up 1. But then the high ground comes into effect, and Polt goes for a 3rd Rax. Oh, they both do. Oh, this is great.
So, it's funny because in Orbital Shipyard, you actually would just see a build like this, regardless of whether it's proxy or not, and not think too much the wiser, because this is just something we see everybody doing on the map, regardless of what race it's against. Exclusion Protoss most of the time. So a lot of this is going to come down to control. A small advantage to Kelazhur, we all often discuss this, as long as nobody loses anything, Kelazhur should always be up 1 Reaper compared to Polt, just due to production cycles and timing.
Right.
So that's the one small advantage he kind of has with this. But if he loses a Reaper early, if he takes any unnecessary damage and has to hop down the cliff, he's going to be denied quite a bit. Ooh, this is CD though. Yes! This is actually a supply block Polt for quite a bit of time. Now, of course, Reaper versus Reaper fights, you're going to be killing each other, you'll be helping clean each other's Reapers up, yada yada yada. Kelazhur missing the beat on one of his Reapers, so not able to take advantage of this just yet.
He did get a second SCV. Nah.
He does have less workers behind this too, which is definitely worrisome. He's putting a lot of emphasis on these gases, so fully mining both. Of course, you don't need to fully mine both if you want to stick to just Reapers, so this means he's thinking about factories, he's thinking about the next step, but he is going to be investing heavily into Reapers.
So, you know, if he had stalled out that supply depot for another 5 seconds even, that would have been a supply block for Polt. But obviously scared. He knows the build of his opponents, and he knows that he has the lack of the high ground, which is what Polt is going to be abusing defensively. Now, what is so odd is that, yes, Kelazhur proxied and he's on less SCVs, but with it's not even a contain, right? Because they're able to shipyard, you can actually expand behind yourself. This could go into a macro game if he ever got into the mineral line and just killed 6 SCVs, which can happen very quickly with the amount of Reapers they're both going to be getting here.
So this is kind of cool because Kelazhur is actually getting some damage down on this depot, and it might maybe go down at this rate. But the problem is, for both of them, they know it's so dangerous to engage. Those grenades could kill a whole army just by getting one hit off.
Yeah, he's not going to go for it.
He really wants to, though.
This is so dangerous. He could maybe try and... I still want to get a supply depot. I was going to say maybe just like send 1 or 2 Reapers into the back, knowing that all of the Reapers
over
are both
here
on
this
each other.
side. Get to
Of course, I think he's really kind of visualing on the supply depot, because if he gets that, then he knows that he will definitely win the Reaper war. But
Kelazhur down 2 Reapers to the 1 of Polt. It's still very dicey because it is so... It could go either way. With this many Reapers in play, if either player gets too greedy and too all-in-y, I guess you could say, the grenades could honestly decide everything. Reaper damage is great, of course, and we're going to see him focus this down to make sure he doesn't misclick anything while he's microing around. But
that would be devastating.
I'm wondering for Kelazhur, because production at this point is a lot less relevant than vision, if it'd be worth lifting a barracks to provide high ground vision, allowing him a more even playing field.
Maybe. I do just wish he would get Reapers in the back. I think that is his only chance right now, is to get any SCV kills that he can to try and play a macro game, because Polt he's going to win at this rate.
Yeah,
and
his money is so much better.
He still doesn't have a chance to really take an engagement. Even a head-on engagement would be kind of up in the air.
He is looking for the snowball, though, because... Oh, that's not good. That's not a good start to the fight for either player. Grenades disengaged, and Kelazhur's got less Reapers to work with, but he's continuing to build them, so maybe, again, with some grenade hits, maybe some good kiting, if Polt walks into a grenade or walks into his own grenade. Nah, that's going to be game. Kelazhur taps out. GG.
Well, that was very odd.
Shout out to Buck2 for the 9-month resub during that game. And I guess, I forgot, we gotta get your thing reset up after, I guess, when we go on our first break. Or rather, our first proper break, because we did have a small break earlier. But okay, you've got the lobby. I'm gonna try and get that map interest sorted because it's Prion Terraces next. Maybe see some gold-based builds. Don't know that we'll see anyone lift the gold, unfortunately, but we still may see some good gold-based builds nonetheless. So tied up now 1-1 means we're gonna get 4 games out of these 2 guaranteed, no matter what. Some might be short, some might be long. I don't know. That's the wonderful thing about TvT.
We saw the gold liftoff versus
Zerg.
Zerg?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if we would do it versus Terran.
I could actually kind of see it maybe working versus Protoss, depending on how greedy the Protoss player is known to play.
Yeah, I could see it working. I don't know, because then they would just go for War Prism. Well, Zerg could go for Overlord drops and they didn't. Yeah, I don't know.
So, Kelazhur's got to relog. The danger of logging around today.
Well.
Okay, so we'll give him a moment to get back online, obviously. So just a sec here, guys, while we get the hiccup sorted for this lobby. Remind everybody, again, after this will be the ZVZ. So if you're just joining us, you actually didn't miss anything. You didn't get here too late. It is just a matter of us having played the TvT first instead of the ZVZ. So, Prion Terraces, Countdown's ready to go. Mr. Boris Makarov has messaged me and said he's got a couple of games to give away today. Woo! Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls combo, 2 and 1 CD keys. That's cool. We'll get that sorted on the bot during the break, but we'll see you guys here in a sec. Alright, folks, welcome back to the Ting Open. We haven't actually properly introduced the sponsors of today, but a bit of payback in order for game 2. So quickly doing that before we introduce the players. This tournament is, of course, brought to you by TING. They are a U.S. mobile phone service, and regardless of anything I could follow that up with, they're investing in StarCraft 2. They want to do more StarCraft 2 in the future. So, guys, check them out by going to bttv.ting.com and maybe even consider using them. Regardless, Game 3 is afoot, and we'll see if his defense is as good as his attacking, or maybe better. It's going to be the Blue Terran player, Root Gaming's Kelazhur.
The top left, as the Red Terran, he is CM Storm's Polt.
Although we should say Polt's on Root Gaming, am I right?
So, last game we had the same exact build come down, just not in proxy. This game we're going to see Kelazhur still go for a 1 base, which should be okay against a 2 racks proxy. Specifically, I don't know about a 3 racks proxy, if he controls everything correctly. That's one of the reasons why Kelazhur didn't bother scouting, besides being a little bit greedy, is that this can hold up against the proxy. It's pretty difficult. I don't know if Kelazhur's got it in him. We'll see.
It is definitely going to be tough. But
I'm not... the first Reaper's actually going to where he is guessing could be the proxy. It's a very popular proxy location. So he's going to be as aware as he could, I suppose.
But early on, one of the things to talk about for this... Okay, so the Reaper's going to get here quick. That's going to be unfortunate for the factory stall. You can pull about 3 to 5 SCVs, and it's going to cost you some money, and that kind of sucks. But if you're too afraid and you can't maintain this high ground advantage, you do need something to soak the hits for your Reaper. Hellions, they've got good damage. No one's going to question that. But they don't have the health to actually contest Reapers anymore. Not with the way the new grenade works. And especially the scatter shot ability that comes with it. So there's the SCV pull. A little unfortunate because he's going to bleed out some workers. But the Hellion is not going to be the auto win here. He's actually going to need that second Reaper before he can really engage. There we go. Now we can fight.
That is where it is pretty tricky. But the choice of more Reapers over... Okay, the choice of this is actually a little dangerous.
That gets on top of it. Not too bad at the start. This evens up a lot of playing field, and now you can sit on that ledge if you'd like and just camp the high ground. Did lose 5 SCVs for it, though. So Polt, while not devastating yet, did get a little bit of value out of this.
It's true. He's down in tech, which is the biggest problem right now for him. Kelazhur going for Reapers over Marines, I was going to say, is a pretty good idea because they can provide the... well, first they'll have healing, of course, but then second, they'll have the grenades to push off of the Hellions if things got a little dicier than even that. But things are looking up for Kelazhur in this game.
Yeah, actually, there's a follow-up attack that comes from Kelazhur involving Hellions that could be very deadly. Polt's going to high ground vision to scout with the Overlord Barracks, I guess you could say.
This is pretty important. He's getting an engineering bay that is not really going to be too useful. Like, he doesn't actually need missile turrets, but he might have thought it could have been Banshees, you know? And he's going to see that it's going to be more Hellions, no tech lab, and either Medevac or a Viking or a Liberator, actually. There's a lot of choices from a techless starport.
This is
Liberator.
This is kind of important, though, because, well, you would want to push out with this. You do have to worry about the fact that he didn't kill all the Reapers. And he doesn't know whether there's 3 or 1 or 10 lurking behind us. So, checks down below once again. He might move out through the natural, but Polt's actually in a pretty sneaky spot. And if Kelazhur moves out, as Polt's going to predict, he's going to come in with those Reapers and kill a lot of SCVs, because there's just not going to be defense at home. A Cyclone actually won't stop these many Reapers.
Oh, well, Polt's not going in too quickly here. He's still not going in.
What? You know, it's actually dangerous. Kelazhur can't...
Cyclone?
Well, there's that, but he actually can't swap any tech labs or reactors around. The barracks could potentially steal or block it out. So
that's a good point.
He's going to bring the Hellions back. They're not too far gone. The Liberator's still going to go across the map, but this is going to cost him a couple SCVs.
Yeah. The Cyclone, actually, believe it or not, you know, I think it would have taken out all 3 Reapers, but it might have been questionable with grenades, with how low the health point is on the Cyclone. It is probably a lot better that he pulled everything back from his army. Now, Polt to get a Viking. This is going to be a catch-all against whatever Kelazhur starport was getting, so it was definitely the good choice. Actually, going to a second Viking, too, and he's going to play pretty defensive.
Tank's got to siege up, though. There's a bunker, and that's kind of cool, but... Well, he might be able to keep Polt, off of mining for the time being. He's not going to really be able to break up this. If that depot wall, if he's missing a depot, if the bunker wasn't there, like, these tanks wreck this no problem. But if they had the ability to run past this and just jump on top of those tanks, this would actually not be too bad for Kelazhur. Viking on the ground, going to try and bait them into a fight.
Obviously, Kelazhur wasn't sure that Polt was going to counter the Viking, although that would have been the safest option, which is why Polt did it. But I kind of wish he had gone for a Medevac and just elevatored either only his Hellions or, like, everything in that dead space. But...
Actually, what would have been nice to see, I mean, because Polt knew, like, here's the thing, the metagaming, right? Like, Kelazhur knew that Polt knew that he was going for a Liberator. So I would have actually loved to have seen him, rather than dash across the map and try and get like 2 SCV kills, maybe use it to zone out the ram for the tanks while he got the ability to actually fight the depots or something. Still would have died eventually to the Vikings, of course, but maybe if that depot broke, this could have been different.
I think,
regardless, the choice to go Banshees behind this is so weird. Like, he knows there's Vikings in play. He's actually seen more than one at this point.
Right, and he's on the engineering bay, but Polt might not have been expecting such a late Banshee. This is delaying Kelazhur's stim quite a bit, so maybe he doesn't have as many scans as he could have. He might have one, he does. But that, if it wasn't 3 Vikings, that Banshee definitely would have been able to survive, but 3 Vikings is quite a lot, and then the missile turrets go up too. I was gonna say, the Liberator, just causing damage on the command center actually would have made Polt lift it, and that might have been a better option, but this is kind of an odd-looking push, especially with a SCV with gas in his hand.
If there was another Banshee with this for high ground vision, yeah, maybe it still gets sniped, but it wouldn't be too bad. Because you can at least position to maybe fight along this ledge and zone out some of what's up here.
He could try and bank on there being another scan and try and pick off the tanks, but he tries to distract the main, which Polt has pretty perfect defense against. I'm just gonna try and keep that alive. There is a scan ready now. 2 scans, in fact. Back to 1.
Yeah, Polt chasing it down. This one SCV that does a little bit awkward does repair up all the Hellenes in the process. He's actually going to send the Cyclone over to catch some of these Vikings. Kind of a little bit of a bait move. That's cool. Let's see if it's worth it.
Looks like Polt's really paying attention to the Banshee as well. So does see this and really can't do much about it. Even if his Vikings landed, the Cyclone just leave.
Yeah, the speed advantage on kiting him around. So that's kind of nice. It also takes the Vikings out of the equation. So Kelazhur, if he recognizes this, can go back and pick off one of these tanks, perhaps. His own army, though, is really not that bad. The problem is positioning. So regardless of whether you can pick up tanks and drop them or not, the idea is still getting the rest of that army in a position you want to fight with.
This is such a dangerous position for Kelazhur, who might be looking to get a 3rd base with this somewhat contained. He's banking a lot of minerals. That's the only reason I'm guessing. But at some point, the defender is going to have medevacs, and he sees that, and they're going to be able to counter-drop you, and you don't have a lot back at home when you do this, but he actually tries to break everything.
Whoa, forces the lift-off out of Polt. This actually gives him the ability to get his own tanks up on that front line. These Reaper grenades are going to try and hit some of the tanks. Marine's going to pick off those Vikings, but those 2 tanks are actually killing a lot of SCVs behind this. Unfortunately, TvT is not about worker kills nearly as much as the other matchups are, but still shutting down a lot of mining, killing 9 SCVs. This is a great attack out of Kelazhur.
Kelazhur pouncing.
The lock-on on the command center.
He should be able to repair it if he just noticed. Okay, it's not going to do it. But like Kelazhur pouncing on what he saw was only 2 tanks was so... Like, I really didn't think he was going to be able to break Polt. And
Polt's not
obviously
repairing
didn't think he was going to be broken either, but he has...
Polt's not repairing this.
Really does have to repair that. He's going to try and break it first.
Cyclone gets a kill on the way back. That's kind of nice. I really don't think Polt realizes that he's got to get that repair on, man.
He's repairing Vikings. Please stop repairing the Vikings.
Okay, well, it's auto repair, so you know he's going to repair the command center. No?
It's getting pretty low.
There we go. Oh, my
God. If the Vikings were any less in health, like, they would not have gotten to the command center.
Yeah, if they had to repair longer. You're right. That's hilarious. Cyclone going to kite for a couple kills in the middle of the map. Now, Kelazhur still lacks medevacs. This kind of sucks. But what he lacks in medevacs, he's gotten Vikings, which will give him a bit of air control. And as long as Polt can't pick up and drop his tanks, Kelazhur can still fight on even footing. But the second those tanks start getting shimmied around and maneuvered in ways that he can't keep up with, that's when this starts getting difficult.
Kelazhur got quite the SCV lead during that attack, by the way, and so even on army really is looking quite good for him. Unfortunately, a couple barracks on the outside are going to get lifted off here. Might even die.
Maybe. Yeah, the Viking war did not go well because it was a bit of a surprise. I don't think he expected Polt to have his own Vikings for this. SCV a little bit awkward. Just repair the Cyclone, man. You're not doing anything useful anyways. There's those medevac drops, though, coming in with those tanks repositioning everything. Now, Kelazhur doesn't drop his Marines in the dead zone of the other tanks, so I don't know what he was hoping to accomplish with that. A little bit awkward. Perhaps panicking in this spot.
Yeah, I don't know if he really accounted for the fact that it was 4 tanks shelling away at those Marines, because he just wanted to concave over the 2 tanks in front without risking the Marines killing his medevacs, but... that was a little awkward. He still had a pretty good army supply to break this.
Yeah, he's starting to hold. He's +1 a little bit late to the party. They both have combat shields. They both have stims. So this is starting to shape up a little bit more to be what you would expect TvT to be. But Kelazhur still with a very definitive lead in those workers. Now, the one like asterisk I guess I would make is that a gold base does change up what a normal TvT is. And 33 workers we assume is bad, but it's full saturation at the natural for Polt because he's mined out of his main. Kelazhur's kind of in that same situation. So there's a lot of SCVs, sure, but the actual income graph and the income is not that different. Oh, but this command center. Oh,
that
Kelazhur.
was an odd choice. What the hell?
Even if he killed 400 Marines worth of units underneath that, that would not have been worth it. I don't know what he was thinking.
I was gonna say, like, there was an entire command center up too for Kelazhur, so that should put him in a huge lead. But then he lost it for silly mistakes. Now, this does put it in an interesting position because they're both gonna have to lift off their main command centers at some point, either to the other gold, which would be very risky, or to the mineral line we're looking at now. But an even army supply, it could still be an even game. They got even upgrades as well. Kelazhur actually pushes in here.
A little bit risky, but the Marine fight was not bad, actually. I thought it was going to go a lot worse, but the medevac support picks up, and gotta watch out because the Vikings are targeting the medevac that had the units in it. Not realizing Polt had that sweet spot, though. Does manage to unload some of these on top of the tanks. Starts killing more of these,
close.
but I will say,
get that one last tank.
I'm loving a lot of what Kelazhur's doing, and Polt actually drops a mule to repair his units. That's kind of cute. But Kelazhur is, like, he is not like he's missing. Like, I feel like his depth perception is off. Like, he's trying to drop on top of the tanks, get in the dead zone, you know, cause some friendly fire, but instead he drops like 5 feet to the left of the tanks every single time.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a pretty even game still. I mean, he might have been able to clean all that up if, like, they had gone in the dead zone of the tanks, but he's still stuck on 2 bases. Polt already lifted his main.
Right, and despite having less workers, he's in a much more advantageous mineral position because Kelazhur, again, main mined out, hella dropped mules, natural base mining out. This is actually a clock. Once these minerals run out, Kelazhur's going to be out of any chance to break this position if he hasn't broken it yet.
And Kelazhur was probably thinking for a long time, as long as I defend him, should be in good, because he knew how low the command center got. Like, he saw the SCVs die, but it's so odd that 50 SCVs to 34 is actually still going okay for Polt. In fact, better for Polt. Look at the income advantage because he's the one actually mining off of saturation now.
Yeah.
And Kelazhur, I think, might be feeling that soon. Like, okay, I realize a mistake here, but he hasn't tried to drop.
I was going to try now. It's actually going to get scouted?
Yes. That's too bad. He was also trying to lift his main command center over there.
Yeah, you know, Vikings have been just cherry-picking away all of Kelazhur's air. His own Vikings never getting to account above 2. His medevac's been picked off every which way. As the command center moves, this might be a little bit of bait, but oh, that Liberator.
That Liberator is really cool, but you know, Polt saw that medevac drop, yet is not rallying any units to his third. Okay,
that could be a bit of an issue. I still think Polt's in a better spot, funny enough, even if he loses all the SCVs at said third, because he can just mule it afterwards. But looking to focus it down instead of chase the SCVs. See if that's worth it for Kelazhur or not. I don't think he'll quite get the kill. Other side of the map, that command center is being repaired up. There's actually minerals he can't spend. Every mineral he wastes repairing command center, he needs like a Marine. He needs another Viking.
Kelazhur keeps on sending his Vikings out in like 1 or 2, you know?
I know, it is driving me nuts.
I don't know if he just has a misread and he's not even noticing, but it is really hurting him. He should have already won the Viking war. Oh, dear God.
Yeah, actually, how many Vikings have died in total for Kelazhur? 7 to 6. And those Vikings, while they were kind of cool for air control before, they're necessary to stop that Liberator. This is the last 2 mineral patches Kelazhur has.
1 out of 4. Such a good saturation. God, even a secret base at this point would have been better.
He's going to go for the breakthrough. I think he realizes what position he's in. So, Siege is up on the ramp. He's going to try and focus down that Liberator, maybe? Nope, goes for the Vikings.
Oh, man. He saw too late, though, that he could have taken on the Vikings. Still going to be able to.
Okay. This works. With the Liberator going down, he's got a better chance to actually fight. The problem is there's still almost no medevacs for him. So, Marine versus Marines, the Marines actually go better for Polt. But there's so many tanks, and as he decides to push into this, and it's not looking good for Kelazhur.
No, he's down 40 army supply. His drop could try and come in from behind and really distract the tank fire, but...
Yeah, maybe attempt to flank. Maybe, but even then...
Polt's Marines are now back there, so he realizes he can't.
Yeah. Kelazhur, I don't think anyone would have expected him to die like this on this map, but I will say at this point, like, he's got 1 mineral patch. He has exactly 1 Marine's worth of minerals left. He actually cannot build anything else. He cannot repair anything else.
He's barely covered the SCV line, like so close to them all dying. He's still going to be severely oversaturated on one base, yes, of course, and he might just get broken here too. Polt has such a wide concave.
That's going to be game. GG.
GG.
Oh, what a way for game number 3 to go, but Polt will take a lead of this series 2-1. And that's got to be like one of the first times you see a TvT, you get 20 SCVs ahead, you're behind. That is so very much dependent though on the legacy of the Void economy changes though, and that's kind of cool in my books. But we are going to take a small break as it is game number 3, guys, so don't go anywhere. Maybe game number 4 is where it ends. Maybe this goes to the ace match, but we are going to take a moment to hear a couple of quick tips from our sponsors as we get into map 3. So do stick with us, and we'll see you soon. Alright, this is the one map we don't have a cool intro for, because, oh, the sounds are muted. No, they're not. No, they're not. We're good. Hello. Alright, game number 4 underway. Thank you guys for giving us a few moments there. We got a long group ahead of us today, 5 potential best of 5s, and we are getting into game number 4 of this very first one of the day. Thank you again to TING for sponsoring this great event and making this all possible. Make sure to check out TING, guys, bttv.ting.com. It gives them the referral to let them know that you came from BaseTradeTV, and you'll get $25 in credit on their services or stuff in their store. And check it out. Now getting into this game, in the top left, he's up 2-1. Not been easy for him. It's been CM Storm's Polt.
In the bottom left, as the Red Terran, he is Kelazhur.
All right, so before we get too much further into the day, just reminding everybody tuning in live that we do have in-stream ads because these guys are sponsoring the event. All $5,000 for the prize pool coming straight up from Ting. They have a trophy for this. They've got giveaways they're doing with a smartphone and chat, so hopefully you guys can take advantage of all the awesome things going on. But the big ad breaks will only come between series. I'll just let everyone, again, I think a lot of you guys have been here for the first several groups and qualifiers. You know how it works at this point, but just letting everyone know, we'll put the big ads between series so you don't have to worry about missing any of the StarCraft 2 action.
Yeah. So this is the first time we're going to see not multiple Reapers proxied, which is cool. Great. Polt is going to be going for 1 Rax Expand, while Kelazhur is once again going for this 1 base build. Polt is trying to see that, but unfortunately scouting incorrectly the first.
It's funny because the way they deflect off of each other, and especially with the way we've seen them play in the past, Polt scouting, it is almost like he expects payback and retribution for the way he played that last game. But the way he's building doesn't feel like that, with the faster command center on location. It's like
I suppose. What do you mean retribution?
Well, I mean, okay, so you Rax Kelazhur, you box him in. Maybe he doesn't want to play that long game, so you expect him to maybe proxy Rax you back for proxying you back type thing. It's kind of like your eyes say yes, but your mouth says no. Like he wants to make sure he doesn't get caught with anything, so the early scout, but then takes the fast command center on the low ground. So.
Well, I mean, that's how it went second game to third game, is they got revenge on each other, so This could have been a game of just pure revenge, but not this time. He will scout that it's 1-1-1 and it's actually Hellion based, so this is probably just going to be those 2 Hellions, 2 Reapers attacking the front door, and then a Liberator, I'm guessing, has been coming out from the starport, especially on Lairlac, and I'm sure Polt will know that too. So wait to see what's coming out of that starport. I didn't want to lose that Hellion.
But even so fight a little bit more. That Reaper's low. He snipes it. Kelazhur going to be able to deny any money on this base for a little bit. And of course, no mules being dropped down here is always a nice thing as well.
So nothing is coming out from Kelazhur's starport? Not yet.
No, but at the same time, Polt doesn't have his starport finished up yet either, so a little bit scary.
Yeah. I guess he is putting more into the Reapers and Hellions, realizing the situation is a little different.
If he had jumped up right away instead of getting a shot on that deep, he would have actually been able to stall out the starport. That would have been really nice.
So Kelazhur doesn't use the starport at all, which I think he had an opportunity to if Polt was not defending on the natural ramp instead of defending on the main ramp, and is actually changing his build a little, which is kind of cool to see. So he goes for a command center, then uses his starport for Cloak Banshee, actually, which it's fine, I guess, is the best way to put it. Like, I'm not sure it's going to get amazing kills, but it could get a couple of key kills.
Cyclone's going to come out. The Reapers and the Hellions can actually fight the Cyclone if they'd like, but
that
just
might
try and run away.
ability.
Ooh, actually survives, barely getting out of range in that last tick. Other side of the map, he does get his command center down, so not too far behind that of Polt as far as what's available for mining. But unfortunately, with both a Viking and a Cyclone out, it's going to be hard for Kelazhur to get damage in there, but he did do it last time. He did manage to snipe off a couple of workers. Polt scans and I think saw the tail end of that Banshee. I imagine he was looking when he scanned.
Either way, he's a tech lab, so he knows that it will be Banshees. But you're right, the anticipation of 2 Banshees here, as Kelazhur's actually just letting that other Banshee chill off to the side, might be different than what Polt's expecting. 1 Banshee at a time, and then you deal with them. But 2 coming out at a time. If Kelazhur had another push ready to go, he could actually try and push through the natural with that firepower. But there the first Banshee goes. It's not going to find much.
No, and there's actually not that much space to maneuver behind the missile turret either. So for Kelazhur, we often talk about who expects the late Banshee, right? And that's usually where you get some kills here and there, but 1 SCV for the time being, backs away, stays alive, might match up with the other Banshee, and this is where it gets questionable. Do you try and put 1 in each location and distract in 2 separate spots, or do you just try to get as much damage done as possible, and both Banshees focus firing, getting damage done? But it's not about the worker lines, it's about a push.
Yeah.
And this is where the Banshees are going to be awesome.
Yeah.
If you suicide these to kill a tank, it's going to be worth it. If you have these die to kill Marines to even it up and get a lead yourself, even better. So I really like the Banshees in this position, but this is very dedicated out of Kelazhur. If this falls apart, he is not going to really have a fallback on this.
Well, don't give him free detection there. Goes in a little too soon with his units too, but there we go. Finds the left side. Something.
Not sure about sacrificing so many Marines like this. It's getting really dicey. Decides to try and outrun the detection. We'll barely get out of there.
That looked intentional with how long he let those Marines run forward, but it also looked...
You know what? Oh god, that tank's 1 shot for dead. New Banshee can get in there, definitely pick it off. Gonna repair it with some SCVs. Good denial of mining out of Kelazhur. These tactics aren't bad, but his units are getting weak, and he doesn't really have a great foothold without a medevac to maneuver things around. Burns another scan, which Polt kind of needs for mining right now. So these Banshees going down, 1 for a scan, is actually going to be very worth it for him.
If the other 2 weren't so damn low, they could go in here and hope he didn't have another scan.
Picks up the Cyclone.
He could land and scan, and then lift up immediately.
There
we go.
But even then, these are scans he actually he's got to move the command center now, because it is low enough that if it lands again, it will die. It's burning to death, so trying to repair that up. Kelazhur getting a lot of mining, a lot of income behind this, and this is not like Free on Terrace. You're not going to have a gold base to out-mine with. Like, you're not going to just run out of minerals for no reason like last time. So, tank positioning and maneuvering working a little bit here in the favor of Polt, but even then, Kelazhur's already done a very significant amount of damage just by being here. I almost hesitate to say, like, it feels like we're getting to that point where he could lose everything and still be ahead. Not the case because of how dangerous counterattacks are in TvT, but still, gotta be careful.
So interesting maneuver here from Kelazhur to go ahead and just go for the combat shields first with his +1 as opposed to stim.
I kind of like
that. That's going to be like a heavily delayed stim, but it's going to be good just for the straight up engagements. Like head to head, it'll be nice, but also defensively, it's offense to where stim really shines.
Kelazhur's production just kicked in too, by the way. That's a big part of his lead right now. There's a couple extra barracks, all the tech labs and add-ons. Twitch alert's not showing up for some reason, but I heard the sound, so I'll look into that in just a moment. Good friend, whoever donated. Zepsy donates $5. It says, "What am I doing with my life? It's 1 a.m. and instead of going to bed, I'm watching BaseTradeTV. Regret nothing. P.S. Don't tell my boyfriend what I'm doing with money. He won't understand."
Well, thank you.
I don't. That's probably not the key to a healthy relationship, but thank you for the $5 nonetheless. Rigalta's also hitting 20 months. I'll try refreshing Twitch alerts after this and see if that fixes things. We've had this problem for the last couple days where they don't show up reliably for some reason. At any rate, whoa.
At any rate, Kelazhur is looking very good in this game, despite not having stim. Like I said, like stim really shines. Like as far as like you get a better concave if you attack into an army, and of course your drops are more effective. But defensively, you actually like need stim is a little bit too strong of a word. Obviously, it's still a good technology to have, but I think the combat shields defensively was a much better idea, as Kelazhur was planning on disengaging from that attack eventually. Which he's doing right now. Now, stim also helps you get from location to location, so if Polt had just dropped into the main base, that might have been difficult for Kelazhur to catch up to, but he's not.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of ways that Polt will have a small advantage timing here, that Combat Shell is going to sync up better for him than Kelazhur's Stim, but he is still behind in that +1. So a little bit strange. We do have a drop on the other side of the map, picks off some SCVs and denies some very valuable mining, because as we go to the income graphs, let's not forget, Kelazhur's been dominating the mining, the income game, and because of this, again, he hasn't snowballed yet, but his production got to get really far ahead of Polt. Polt's on 3 barracks, barely tech labs and reactors. Kelazhur's on 5 racks, starport, factory. Like, he is in a pretty good spot. Polt actually taking a little bit of time to respond to this, so the command center gets a bit low. Going to kill a lot of SCVs, though, on the defense. And this is not good. He's going to try and break the other side of the map, but you know what? Kelazhur's got so many damn units. I just feel like his supply game is going to win him this match.
Yeah, he's 20 army supply up. He now has all of his upgrades and is going to have like 1-1 soon too. Maybe positioning could be on Polt's side, but Kelazhur's really not letting him get there. Starport being taken down could have been possible.
The Vikings are going to be a bit of a problem.
He'll
have to just kind of deal with this. I don't know if he wants to leave the starport there. Pulling it back now might be better, but regardless, Kelazhur's got to know what sort of situation Polt's in. He's killed so many SCVs. He denied so much mining. I mean, he doesn't know that it's only 23 SCVs remaining, though, like we do. But unlike Prion, where you can make the argument, well, Polt, you know what? There's not a lot of minerals to mine from, so your low SCV count is fine. That's not the case here. Now that starport, even if he... That looked weird, dying midair. He's going to push to break this. Tank's been picked up and dropped. Marines.
There you go.
Big concave. 1-1 in the advantage here for Kelazhur. And while Polt does do some fancy footwork and take a decent fight, he loses his position advantage.
Yeah, that's true. It was odd because Kelazhur didn't stim immediately. He only stimmed midway into running into that. But okay, so Polt kind of lost most of his tanks, so he has 2 more here.
The starport went down.
Kelazhur lost most of his marines, but still has the tanks defensively. So he's still in an okay position.
Oh no, for Polt. Yeah, like army for army, it's not looking too dangerous. Like we talked about consistently, you don't actually see the worker count be that dynamic in a TvT. Not for long periods of time, but we are hitting the end of that long period of time where Kelazhur's going to have the 2-2 advantage over 1-0. He's going to have so much production to work with. He didn't, in fairness, he never put the reactors onto these barracks. He should have, for sure. But he really needs to get that starport back up, because it's building now, but there's no way he wins this game without further medevac/Viking/Liberator production.
Well, he's going to try and drop. This double drop is going to be able to do a lot more damage than that single drop earlier, and that did quite a bit. Polt needs to find an abusive position to break Kelazhur, because this is like the time that he has a chance to. He might lift his command center, but 24 SCVs is still not that great. And he might be okay mining, but he's going to start losing out in upgrades and
actually
supply.
He can't. Most scenarios I'd agree, but because he never took a second gas at his natural, he actually is relying heavily on both gases in the main, which aren't even saturated properly. If he lifts that and moves, he's going to lose the ability to keep making tanks and medevacs. He'll be able to make tank or medevac, tank or Viking.
Hopefully they'll recognize that when he does. But Kelazhur, I think, is kind of waiting for the command center liftoff, by the way, on the 3rd base. He drops entirely over there. Now it's just going to go into the natural, where there's not a lot of reinforcements. So
Polt's whole army's
might
over
just
here.
Be the kill move, like GG move.
But even then, like, Polt's got a big army. Like, let's not forget, Kelazhur's got 2 medevacs worth of units segmented off to the side. Polt actually has more units on Kelazhur's half of the map at the moment. Recognizing this, he's going to go for it. Marine's going to focus those tanks pretty quick. That choke, though, working against Polt, and I think Kelazhur's got it. GG! Ace match.
Jinx.
Damn it.
Soda. Please. Soda, please.
All right, so game number 5 coming up. This was a good TvT, and like I said, these two, you rewind a year ago, I don't tell you Kelazhur ever wins versus Polt. Like, there's no way. Hots, especially, Polt was, like, at the peak of his prime. Like, not saying that Polt's bad now, but it really is that Kelazhur got a lot better. And the fact that these two are playing to this degree with one another is awesome. I like it. And, of course, if you're a Kelazhur fan, I'm sure you do, too.
So, this is very important, not only because it's the ace match and one of the winners' match is great, but then whoever wins the possibility of getting to the decider and then losing in the group
and then rematching,
it might just be better to lose this one, alright?
You know what? If this curse was actually something players thought about, not just us, I would agree. But I know that we're the only ones going Illuminati on this one. Map intro for Elrena. We'll see you guys here in just a moment. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game number 5. I'm actually, if this is no cheese, I'm going to open with a embarrassing story for Kelazhur, but we'll get to that in a moment, because in the bottom left, we've got the blue Terran player, CM Storm's Polt.
In the top left, as the red Terran, he's Roots Kelazhur.
Now, I've seen a couple, maybe it's the same guy who keeps bringing it up in chat, maybe it's not, but I've seen a couple times brought up this whole, like, 2-base scenario. But the thing that's happening in these games that I'm hoping everyone is fully aware of is that both of these players are doing a great job at getting aggressive and forcing their opponent to not be able to take a third. Soft contains can sometimes be very deadly. Prion Terraces was a perfect example of that. I don't think we'll see that on Orena, but still the possibility. Now, Kelazhur, I want to talk a little bit about because, A, he's definitely, I think, the underdog coming into this. A lot of us expect Polt to play, like, you know, the Korean god that he is. But Kelazhur's been getting better and better, as we hinted at between games. The stark difference in this, though, and I love telling this story, and we actually got drunk at BlizzCon for the Twitch after party, and him and I discussed this directly, was like the first time Zombie and I ever saw Kelazhur was in Copa America. And in Copa America, he lost the Huck to a proxy Nexus Rush. It looked hilarious. I had never heard of Kelazhur before in my life, and I was like, okay, this is some I don't know, Copa America schmuck, we'll never see him again type thing. No, I couldn't have been more wrong, and I'm glad that was the case, because Kelazhur's gotten better and better. So we talk about this, we kind of joke a little bit, and drunkenly, slurringly, sitting next to all the Koreans at the Twitch after party, Kelazhur's kind of like, Rifkin, do you think I'm a good player? It's like, hell yeah, dude. I think you're fantastic, and I think you're going to do even better in Legacy of the Void. And he had like this dumb drunk glow on his face. He was really happy to hear that. And I can't tell you how happy I am that he has gotten better in Legacy of the Void. Because again, going toe-to-toe with Polt is no easy task.
Nope, it is pretty difficult. It was actually a lot easier for him in the qualifiers than a best of 3, but once they go into the ace match, they finally found both of their rhythms in the same series.
If it had been best of 3, he would have lost this, though.
That's true. It is Arena, which is going to be all about that one base. As you can see here, both of them going for that one base makes a lot of sense. What's curious is that they're both going for what looks to be almost the exact same one base, so the Widowmine drop, but they still might differ afterwards. In fact, Kelazhur only has one guy on a gas geyser, rather. I think it's intentional. I think.
OCD just tells me to do 2 and 2, please.
He scans and sees what Pulse is doing.
Ooh.
Information is everything.
This is actually kind of important because it is guesswork on whether it's safe for you to do your own drop or not. So, behind this, the follow-up, get a Hellion, maybe try and do a bit more scouting to check the natural timing with this, because obviously you're not going to invest into a Reaper this late. But this also means that Kelazhur may poise himself to try and catch a medevac drop rather than do his own. No, he's still going to go for it.
That's always the tough decision. We saw a lot of one-base builds on Merry-Go-Round back in the day, and they would just turn into pseudo-base trades as they both passed each other, like so.
Now, this does give Kelazhur a very open window of opportunity. This Polt just doesn't have anything here to defend. Widowmine's going to get shot. Oh, no. Oh. But if the Widowmine doesn't go off on the SCVs, he can still go off with the Cyclone, which is scary. Kelazhur, same sort of situation, doesn't have a lot home to defend, but the Widowmine splashes a lot of the Marines. Hellion and a couple Marines with his Viking might just be able to deal with it. Other side of the map, Polt's not mining. He can't build much more. This Cyclone and this Viking, pretty much the only thing he's going to have going for him right now. Now, he's going to try and bait the Widowmine hit. He really wants us to go off on the SCVs. Maybe not quite like that, but still, 6 workers dead for Kelazhur, 9 for Polt. That number's still rising. He's trying to repair the Cycle. He's keeping it alive, just barely. Medevac goes down, but he's still gonna have to scan for that Widowmine.
Kelazhur is good, man. He has the scan ready.
Yeah,
but
23 workers to 12.
Yeah,
one base.
For
oh gosh, if Polt, I hope he knows. Because this, normally a Widowmine doesn't kill SCVs because they've got enough to take a second hit, but not like this. He muled Zombie Grub. There's no scan. He's going to lose like 4 or 5 more SCVs. Okay, only 2, but still, that could have... It's still a situation where he's not got the energy to scan.
Yeah, he should have it in time for the next one if he even remembers, though.
He might be distracted. Kelazhur going to poke him with a Viking. Just keep the attention of Polt on anything except that mineral line.
Yeah.
Push going through the front?
I think he should. Kelazhur has a much bigger army supply, of course. It's hard to say that.
There we go. With this, yeah, absolutely. I was going to say just Marines and no support. That's weird, but what am I going to come off cooldown one more time? Polt not even trying to build SCVs at this point. Just straight up a Raven. 2 more go down. 11 workers in play for Polt. And guys, girls, ladies and gentlemen, unless he really messes this up, I think Kelazhur is going to take this first series of the day.
Yeah, I think so. Takes a bad fight with the Cyclone, so his Viking's going to die here, but he will tear down this wall It's no problem. And
Trump.
then he'll go in and there's like no units.
Trump
The
would be
Ravens
pissed.
auto turret would do fun. Yeah.
The Ravens auto turret and one Cyclone is really all he has to rely on, though. I mean, there's a second command center for Polt, and that's cool. A couple of mules here and there, sure, but Kelazhur is not taking a command center. He's still dedicating to an attack that's looking to end the game. Mr. Boris Makarov, thank you very much for the $10. We'll get to that in a second, because we might just see the end of the game here. Barracks being lifted and transferred off. I mean, even losing production facilities is not something Polt can afford to replace. That barracks going down sucks.
That it's it is game unless this Banshee could have the sickest micro ever. It's not even going to have cloak.
No, another tank comes in.
That's it.
GG,
GG.
ladies and gentlemen. Kelazhur continuing his dominating streak. Taking game number 5. Mr. Boris Makarov donates $10. He says, here you go. Also check your personal donations. Aw, you wonderful son of a gun. Let me do that before we get into this next one. It's like always a little bit awkward when you get like a personal donation because you're like, I definitely wasn't looking for that. But thank you to Mr. Boris Makarov. Just thought I'd throw a little bit more into your pocket than normal. Big love to you, man. Big love to you. Speaking of which, Mr. Boris Makarov has a game giveaway we're going to be raffling off. So we're going to go set that up on the bots. You guys can use the partoofs that you've been earning while watching the channel. So again, you might not even realize it. Just by being logged into Twitch and watching BaseTradeTV, you're getting paid partoofs. These imaginary points, currency, whatever you want to call them, can be exchanged for things like raffle tickets, which is awesome. So make sure you guys get in on the raffle. It's going to be for a copy of Diablo 3 Reapers of Souls. And now we're going to get into Scarlet versus Violet. So Violet might be a little bit AFK. I'm going to poke him real quick. Just pretty, please. And we're going to go to a couple of words from our sponsors. Before we do this, though, I want to quickly remind everybody what TING is. It's a U.S. mobile phone service. Again, the sad thing is it is available only in the United States. Lucky for us, though, our biggest demographic of people who watch StarCraft 2 on BaseTradeTV are from the United States. This particular service is actually incredibly beneficial if you're around Wi-Fi all the time. Some people who aren't, if you're constantly watching things on data, mobile, you're on the train all the time, TING might not be for you. But it's worth checking out to see if it is, because they are looking specifically only to help you out if they can save you money. If they can't and your current phone and provider is better, they'll tell you to stay with it. But there's one added benefit to all of this, guys, because if you can get a couple of bucks saved a month with TING, and maybe it's a little bit less of a hassle for you each month, on top of all of that, you're going to help save esports. If we can get 40 people signed up and using TING actively by the end of this tournament, they're going to give us another $5,000 TING open, hopefully at Season 2. This was something Zombie Garb and I specifically made sure to negotiate with them, a big talking point, saying we want a goal to work towards, we want to do more than just this one-off tournament. And they were very happy to agree to these terms. So, again, make sure to check out TING. We're going to go into an ad break talking specifically about their coverage, because they do have nationwide coverage, partnered with T-Mobile and Sprint. And we'll see you guys in a couple minutes while Violet and Scarlet get their Vita sorted. If Scarlet ever gets out of Twitch chat. Big love. We'll see you guys soon.